All right, today we're going to learn how to do compound interest. So let's review simple interest first. So let's say you're borrowing $800 at a 12% simple interest rate for 5 years. How much interest will you owe at the end of 5 years, and how much total money will you owe at the end of 5 years? So with simple interest, it's I equals PRT. P is our principal, R is our rate, T is our time. So my principal is going to be the money amount. So we have $800 times our rate. So our rate is 12%, but we need to change it to a decimal, so it is 0.12. And then our years is 5. Then we're going to multiply everything together. So we have 800 times 0.12 times 5, and that is $480. This number is going to be our interest. That is how much they will have to pay back extra. And so next is how much total money. So we have to include our interest and the money that we borrowed together, and that's going to give us $1,280. All right, so now for compound interest. So there is another interest formula called the compound interest formula. This is actually used in life. It is used more than simple interest, like buying cars and houses. So our formula is A equals P 1 plus R with the power of T. So P is our principal, R is our rate, T is our time. Our A represents the total amount. This number is going to include the interest. So instead of adding it like we did with simple interest, it's already added. So we will have to work backwards to find the interest. So let's start with our first question. So let's say you're borrowing $300 at a 4% interest rate compounded annually for 2 years. Find the total amount you owe and the amount of interest you owe. So here is my formula. So my principals, again, is my money amount, what we're borrowing. 1 plus my R is going to be our percentage, which is 0.04. And then our T is 2 years. So we'll type this in our calculator. Make sure you use parentheses, and then we have an exponent of a 2. And so this is going to give us $324.48. So this answer is going to be our total. Compound interest gives us our total already included with our interest. So to find our interest, we are going to take this, our answer, minus our principal, and that will give us our answer. So for our interest, so 324.48 minus $300, and we get $24.48. And so this one is going to be the interest. That is how much money is added at the end. So let's now compare our two formulas by using the same information. So we can kind of see the difference between the two. So let's say you're investing $600 at a 12% interest rate for 5 years. So my formula for simple interest is I equals PRT. So we're going to multiply our principal, which is 600, times our rate, which is 0.12, times our years, which is 5. So 600 times 0.12 times 5 is 360. So simple interest, it's going to give us our interest as our answer. So if the number is smaller than our principal, it's our interest. If the number is larger, it is our total. So our interest is $360. And then we're going to find the total for investing. So we're going to take our principal of 600, our interest of 360, add it together to get $960. All right, so let's look at compound to kind of see the difference between the two. So we're going to use the same numbers. So formula is A equals P, 1 plus R to the power of T. My principal is $600. 1 plus my rate is 0.12, and then my T is 5. So we'll plug that into our calculator. And this is 1057.41. So when you type it all in, you do get a lot more decimals. We have to round it because it is money, and we need 2 digits. So this answer is our total because it is more than our principal amount. And so there's our total, and then we're going to find our interest. So to find the interest, we're going to take our total amount minus our principal amount and subtract them, and that's going to give us our interest. So we can now look at the comparisons of both. So in the real world, we use compound interest. So if you can see the difference, we spend a lot more money with compound interest. We really don't do simple interest with buying houses and cars. And so with compound interest, it's a little bit more complex. We spend more money, but the nice part is it does add our total together with our interest, so we can see the final outcome.